So the first 5 points could be the most important thing you'll hear. I hope everything's going to be quite important. In regards to what I call digitizing my business, I feel that what I've done is digitize my business. Nowadays, the concept of bringing in any kind of person to help you with your business is very dangerous. It's very, very expensive. To bring in any kind of employee is mamish expensive. Okay, it very quickly ticks up. Even if you're paying them 25 shekels an hour, it very, very quickly ticks up. Okay, so my goal was to. It's also a lot of headache as well. Employees, even in the best case scenario, are. I don't want to say headache. Like I feel like I'm good with everyone who's worked for me, and looking at a few people here who have been under my employ. But employees in general, it's definitely a good idea if you can to not have them. So I've called this digitizing my business. So I've come out with five keys to successfully digitizing your business. Page 1. So number 1, leaf on the track, tree on the track. What do I call this? Actually, this Shabbos, I thought of. I realized that there's one more step. There's the kind of person who gets in his train, he's driving along. When I was growing up in England, there used to be the joke with. British Rail was always breaking down, and they'd make the joke about how there was a leaf on the track. You know, the London to Brighton 24-26 has been cancelled because they found a leaf on the track. That was a joke. So I realised in my dealing with people, there's actually a huge amount of people, in fact, a vast majority of people who live their life like this. There's a leaf on the track, which they could just drive over like that, and they stop. They stop the train, they put their hands on their head, and they look up to the sky, and what do you want from me? How can I do this? And they get back in the train, and they go home, or they fall asleep, or they do something else. There's actually another person that I realised this weekend, another kind of person who actually imagines, before he's even got in the train, that there's going to be a leaf on the track that he's not going to be able to conquer. And he doesn't even get in the train in the first place, okay? We don't want to be in either of those two categories. Then there's the person who a tree falls on the track. The tree actually falls on the track. He drives his train, he gets out, he scratches his head, and he thinks, you know what? Comes out with the chainsaw, bulldozer, he digs a tunnel, he designs a train that can jump over trees. The really clever guy brings in a paper mill to cut the tree into pulp or to paper and ends up selling the paper. But you get the idea, you get the message. So we have to be very careful of these smoke screens that will stop us, because there's so many. Everything is a smoke screen that will stop us, and we have to push through all of these things. Without this is the first part. Without this, there's no point of doing anything. You might as well just go back to bed. Okay, number 2 is that you can do it too. The market has forced absolute user-friendliness. I'm 36 years old, and I was born 1979, which means by like the mid-80s, the late 80s, home computers were the norm. But before that, they weren't. So I grew up comfortable with home computers. A couple of guys in the audience who maybe computers came around in their 20s, a lot of guys in the audience as well, girls in the audience, where computers have been part of your life for all time. Okay, one of the problems is feeling comfortable with the program, especially for the older guys here and the older people. The one thing that I go into when using anything digital whatsoever is I'm very clear in my mind that the market has forced that this program in front of me is absolutely user-friendly. And anybody who knows Google and the Google applications realizes that, in fact, they've done it much better than you could ever have done it. And you just need that confidence in the first place to know that they made it in mind, that you're in mind. There are certain things like PHP and CSS and HTML programming stuff, which I stay away from completely. Real things that really need an investment of time, I stay away from them completely. If I decide that it's worth investing my time, I will. But in regards to the user-friendly stuff, you have to know that you can do it. If you're a photographer and you know how to hold your camera and you understand aperture and shutter speed, then you have got a mind that will be able to help you deal with any of the things that the technical world will throw at you. Okay, then there's also number 3, the short path, that is the long path. And the long path, that is the short path. Okay, I think everybody's aware of this kind of thing. Anyone has an example of the short path that is the long path? The short path that is the long path, for example, is a light bulb that's gone in the bathroom, and you sit in dark in the bathroom for 2 weeks. because you waste 6 hours of reading time because you just didn't change the light bulb. All it would take was an investment of about 6 minutes to go and change the light bulb, maybe not even that, and you would have had 6 hours more of your life, okay? But you didn't. That's called the short road, that is the long road, and we do it all the time.
Places to read.
You're right. There's other things to do in the bathroom as well, but either way. But I'm saying just that was just a bad example. But the idea is taking the short road that is the long road is something we have to. In regards to email, things like this, I was spending time rewriting emails over and over again. And I realized, I took a whole day out, and I templated every single one of my emails. I have 100 different emails that I send out. I have 20 different kinds of emails, 30 different kinds of emails. And there's small nuances here and there. So the long road that is the short road is taking out that few hours, sitting down, templating everything. And then it's now, my emails are wedding coming from here. 1 second, click. Send it out, done. Just fill in the namespace here, modify this piece here, the date there, done, finished. Emails like this, chick. Okay, number 4 to remember, the world has now been divided into 2 kinds of people. Those who know how to use Google and those who don't. Yeah, very, very real. There is no question that Google cannot help you with, except for like very specific networking questions that I couldn't actually get help with the other day. But there are generally questions are available, answers are available on Google, YouTube, and you'll find tutorials that you can't even imagine how simple things are. That is a tremendous resource that you need to turn to over and over and over and over again. That should be the first thing in your mind. Something goes wrong, Google. Something goes wrong, Google. Okay. Now, this is a slightly deeper point. This is a skill. This is more of a skill than everything else. Number 5, which I split into 2 points, is seeing through the outer trappings and intelligent matchmaking. Seeing through the outer trappings means understanding that for example, people get taught, everyone here, I'm assuming people have a connection with Photoshop. Now, Photoshop, people get taught the cloning tool on Photoshop. Everyone knows the cloning tool? Yeah, so the paradigm way of being taught the cloning tool is there's a bird in the sky, and they show you how within 2 clicks you can get rid of the bird in the sky. By sampling that piece of sky, Alt-click there, and you see the thing go, and the bird's gone. Okay? Everyone's aware of that? So some people, I hope very few people, file that tool away in their head as the bird removal tool. That's the tool they refer to when I'm saying it as a joke, but you'll see in your life, there's millions of things that we do. This is a very obvious level, but there's much more subtle ways of this problem. They file it away as the bird removal tool. Our goal as an effective person in this world is to be able to see through how these things, at what they are at their root, and then work out how we can apply it in all different places. So that's the same with computer programs. I'm not going to go into what I've done with some of the computer programs. I just sat and thought, like, wow. For example, this is a way of collating information. Google Forms. Everyone's aware of Google Forms? Yeah? No? Hands up. You're aware of Google Forms? 30%. What?
Aware that it exists or using it?
Aware. Either way. But you're aware of it. Google Forms is what everybody filled in, or a lot of you filled in, that we got your details from. A very obvious way of using Google Forms is you can collate information, and we use it in words of surveys. So I just thought about that, and now I run everyone who works for me, I run my entire employee accounting system through Google Forms. It's just a way of receiving information, and Google tablets it into a spreadsheet for you. So now I'm dealing with maybe on average, I'm dealing with probably, say, 1 full-time employee, and then, say, up to maybe even 10 subcontracted employees. Sometimes we're dealing with 2-3 events on a night even. And to keep track of all the moving parts, every event is at least 3 people, is difficult. However, now with Google Forms, the way I collate the information is they build my account spreadsheet for me. It's an amazing way of saving time. That's just the idea of thinking through. Google Forms is meant to do surveys, client surveys, but it's not. It's just a way of receiving information and having Google collate it into an intelligent way. That's number 1, seeing through the outer trappings. Number 2, intelligent matchmaking is, again, another skill that has to be really thought into. Intelligent matchmaking or understanding as when you realize that one program does X and another program does Y, but if it was already at X, it would be easier to use that program. That's called matchmaking with two programs, two websites, to whatever it is. It's the idea of using programs in conjunction. That's why it's part B of 5, is the same idea of thinking a little deeper and working out how to mix and match different programs so things come together.